But let's address the big newsmaker this morning. We've got the birthday boy, Peter McGuire, joining in. Peter, hi, good morning and very happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Ayesha. Thanks for the kind words.
Right, and we were just like sort of rubbing our eyes in disbelief this morning when we saw that tick of 69 on crude. Sustainable, you think?
Yeah, it's incredible. I think it's been pushed down hard. And yes, it probably is. I mean, as Nikunj said, certainly the war premium, geopolitics is stripped out. Even the US dollar's come under big pressure to the downside. And I think everyone's taken their focus off as far as, the bulls entering the ring with crude. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe it gives up a few more bucks. Brent maybe down to 72. We might see some form of resistance from there. But or I've just got to see where the market trends over this session and certainly tomorrow in New York. I'm curious also to see, comments coming as far as President Putin and MBS.
Peter, Australia may have won the World Cup, but we've come back in the T20 series.
Yes, they might, Nikunj. I tell you what, you guys are probably, you might shake us around a little bit.
But Peter, what is causing this shakeout? I mean, I can look back and say, okay, this decline is great news for an emerging market like India, but is this a canary in a coal mine, more like a precursor or a harbinger of a recession coming in 2024?
I think so. I think when you're looking at those employment numbers, you're looking at global, I think, a wind down, and one's got to be very conscious of it as far as, export-driven economies like China and Germany and so on, who's buying those finished goods. So, yes, I think it will be a quieter time, and there's the years at hand, and that's being demonstrated naturally with possibly some softness, and that's interpreted from the market and very much along, the likes of crude. Some of those other commodities have had big rallies over the last maybe the last week and a half to 2 weeks. And as the chart shows there, gold was like showtime and Bitcoin nearly at 44,000. So, yeah, the smart money's gone to other areas to trade, Nikunj, and that's where they're seeing value.
So, Peter, would you go against the crowd and say, okay, there's just too much of bearish opinion in the world? I mean, the war between Russia and Ukraine is still a real deal. Geopolitical tensions in Middle East, while the ceasefire officially has not been called, So there are worries in the market. Do you think it's time actually to think contra and go long crude rather than going short?
Maybe that may be a very valid argument. I don't necessarily think it could happen today, but maybe in the next couple of days. Let's just see where crude settles at. If it bounces, and naturally, it's quite volatile when you're looking at, the $2 and $3 moves over a session or two sessions. So I think it's probably a little bit further softness to the downside, and then I wouldn't be surprised to see it bounce. And it could quite easily add a few bucks to the upside. So hold on to your hat, Nikunj, because I don't think it's going to disappoint traders with volatility.
And, just keeping into consideration the number of factors as well that will influence the movement of crude oil prices down the line, Peter. That's going to be, the elections, how inflation is going to be, the monetary policy decisions by the US Fed as well. How do you see all of that influencing crude price?
Well, exactly right. Also, Avanne, you've got to consider whether there's going to be a strategy put together between Russia and the Saudis, whether they're going to say, well, maybe we've got to, increase our cuts. I think everything's on the table at the moment because I feel as though that they want a higher price than what they're achieving at the moment. So you've got to play that out. Also, keep your eye on Venezuela. So, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and I think 24 is going to be a lot of wild swings to the market as far as what impact it has to commodities, naturally to currencies. Look where US dollar is. As Nikunj said, that 20% wipe off the bond rates, 5.1 to 4.1, it's been crushed. And maybe there's even further softness there, continued downside pressure on bonds. And they're all saying they're going to cut rates. Is it going to be March, April, May? When is the Fed going to action this? So, yeah, I think 24 will be full of surprises. And, hold on to your hat because I think it'll be a bumpy ride.
Thanks very much then, and have a wonderful birthday celebration. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you.